So welcome to the Morning Chalk Up Show in the FITAID Lounge. I'm here with Dr. Aaron Hinde, one of the co-founders of FITAID Beverage Company.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for being a sponsor of the show. And so we're here at the 2019 Reebok CrossFit Games here in Madison, Wisconsin.
Yep.
And you just wrote an op-ed and published it in the San Jose Mercury, which we also published on our site.
Yeah.
Talking a lot about something that's not really come up a lot, and that's caffeine levels in beverages, specifically energy beverages that are marketed towards teenagers.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about the problem that you kind of see and what you were trying to address in that op-ed.
Look, we have a lot of regulation in place to protect children, rightfully so. I mean, I think as an adult, you can do whatever you want when it comes to your own body and your own property, as long as it's not negatively impacting other people around you. But with kids, you know, we have to have protections in place because they're the most susceptible to marketing and hype and social and all of that type of thing. And so I had an experience when I was 15 years old in the gym. At the time, there was a product called Rip Fuel. It had ephedra in it, a bunch of caffeine, and I OD'd on it. And I'll never forget lying on the gym floor, my heart's racing. I literally was as close as I thought of like having a heart attack. All the staff are around me. They're about to call 911. You know, it's a totally crazy experience. And I'm like, the same thing is happening right now in a very unchecked way in regards to quote unquote pre-workouts that are putting 300 milligrams of caffeine in these drinks, marketing to kids that are drinking it before they do like a functional fitness workout especially, and sometimes they're drinking one or two of them, right? Well, the FDA has already looked at this issue and said, look, you as a kid, you shouldn't consume more than 100 milligrams of caffeine a day. I'm not an anti-caffeine guy. I love my morning coffee, right? But there's a safety issue that is totally unchecked. It's already been addressed by the FDA and the FTC in regards to, soda. Well, so why isn't those same logic and reasoning and rules being applied to, energy drinks or pre-workouts?
Right. Okay. So for comparison, so the audience kind of gets a sense of this, like how many milligrams of caffeine is usually in, let's say, a cup of coffee? Do you know? Yeah.
It's between 100, 150, milligrams in like a 12-ounce,
like a 12-ounce Starbucks
Yeah.
cup of coffee. And so I think some of these beverages that you're alluding to, Bang being one of them, that I've noticed is like north of 300 or right around 300 milligrams.
I think the highest out there I've seen is 350, but I think the Bang's got 300. Monster's got a product with 300 milligrams. Rockstar now has a product with 300 milligrams. Just by comparison, I think like a Red Bull's at 140, somewhere around there. So these.
I've had a Red Bull before. It works.
Yeah, it works.
And so I've never had a Bang personally, but 300 milligrams or twice the amount of caffeine sounds like it would probably be a lot.
And they're marketing them as like, oh, this is a healthier version of your traditional energy drink. I'm like, healthier in which way? Most of these are sweetened with sucralose, which kills the gut microbiome. Most of these are jack you up so much on caffeine. And you can look, and we mentioned it in the article, how many incidents of kids going to the hospital on the far end of thing, heart palpitations, arrhythmias, to just sense of nervousness and jitters and that type of thing. But it's just something that hasn't been talked about, it hasn't been addressed, and it's going to end really badly unless somebody steps in.
Right. So I see a lot of these beverages in and around CrossFit gyms too, and seeing adults drinking them primarily as pre-workouts or sometimes as post-workouts. But I think the idea here that you're trying to advocate for, or at least bring up as a topic, is that specifically in teenagers, that there needs to be more safeguards against like these kinds of beverages or marketing to them. Where are you kind of going more specifically?
Well, I would love the industry themselves. Look, I'm part of the industry, and it's like, I'm not trying to do this to be self-serving for our products. I'm doing it because we're very transparent in our products. We're trying to always improve them, and this is a thing that isn't being talked about. So I'd like the industry as business owners to look at it and go, hey, this isn't healthy.
This act responsibly here.
Act responsibly. Should the government step in? That's an argument to be made, and I'm not a huge fan of government regulation just in general, but I think the industry first should do something, and if the industry refuses to take action, then maybe the government will have to take a look at this issue.
And you alluded to it a little bit right now. So like you are kind of a beverage company. You run and operate a beverage
and
company.
we have 2 of our drinks have caffeine in them. So, totally transparent there.
So, and how many milligrams caffeine do you have in your beverages?
Our FITAID, which is our nootropic blend, has the highest amount of any of our products, which is 100 milligrams.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, how are you guys, how is FITAID Beverage Company as an organization, as a company, setting the standard, if you will, for how to approach this situation? What are you guys doing?
Well, one, like the op-ed in the Mercury, bringing attention to it. It was shared on LinkedIn hundreds of times, so I know, we got a lot of traction there. From just a product formulation perspective, we are very, transparent. We're getting customer feedback constantly. Like, for instance, there was a synthetic form of vitamin E we were using in FITAID several years ago, and a customer emailed in and said, hey, there's a natural form, a DL version, that's a better version. You should take a look at it. We looked at it. Even though it increased our cost of goods, we made that change because it was the right thing to do for the product. So constantly looking at how can we improve, how can we really align people's nutrition with the various target niche audience that we're trying to serve.
And you guys, if I'm not mistaken, your FITAID product isn't marketed towards kids.
Correct.
And so you would see that as like kind of being, what do you say, responsible actors with your products, right? And where the industry probably needs to make a shift and change.
Yeah, I mean, look, it would be really easy for us to chase dollars and come up with some eye candy 350 milligram drink. I mean, I could put that out all day long, and I'm sure it would sell, but it's not the right thing to do.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. No, and what we've really seen, and when we published the op-ed and on social media, it was a lot of people kind of commenting that they were so glad that this issue was brought up, because CrossFitters and CrossFitting parents are really into what they put in their body and what they put in their kids' bodies, and the kind of example that they're setting for a generation that right now, nutrition and health is one of the worst times in America that we've had. Obesity rates rising, diabetes, chronic diseases on the rise, continues to increase year over year. And so for our audience, they read this op-ed and they're like, yes, like, obviously. And has that been kind of the feedback that you've gotten after that from some of the people?
I would say 90% positive. There's always going to be people that are haters out there, but that's okay. I'd rather people have an opinion on one side or another than be apathetic about it, right? So as long as we can keep topical, even if you completely disagree with me, that's okay. I want it as a point of conversation. And you're right, CrossFitters are so good, especially at managing the output side, half the equation in the gym, and traditionally have been really good at diets. I mean, the paleo diet came from here. Now the keto diet was really, pushed forward by the CrossFit community. But I've seen the pendulum start to swing back again. I'm starting to see, more and more garbage products, and people aren't paying as much attention to what they're putting in their body. So, kind of continually reminding people, like, hey, the gym's half the equation.
Yeah, absolutely.
And in reality, and if you talk to anyone that really knows nutrition, the gym's probably like 25% of the equation.
Like the famous saying is that abs are made in the kitchen.
Right,
and,
exactly.
And so, it doesn't matter how many toast bar you do or crunches, you're not going to look like that if you're not also eating really, really well.
Yeah.
So while I still have you, what kind of things has FITAID got going on? What's new? What's on the horizon? Give us a little bit of an update.
Well, we're here at the CrossFit Games. I mean, we're heads down, focused on execution, getting cans in hands out to our community, speaking with a lot of box owners. This has been an incredible community for us. I mean, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for CrossFit, and Orion and I meeting in a CrossFit gym in 2009 in Santa Cruz. So, continuing to go deep, continuing to nurture this community. You'll start seeing us, in more and more places. We're getting more retail expansion, and I feel morally obligated to make sure that we continue to make that happen, because when I get an email from someone that said, hey, my son was addicted to Dr. Pepper and now drinks your products instead, I mean, like, that gives me goosebumps. Or nurses emailing in saying, oh, yeah, I mean, we have so many testimonials and stories of people's changing their health trajectory by getting off the high sugar, high caffeine, artificially sweetened sports and energy drinks and onto cleaner products.
Awesome. Well, great. Thanks for stopping in.
All right, brother.
All right, we'll see you.